Marianne,
Paul.
thanks for joining me. How amazing is this?
Lovely to be here.
We're having a chat finally in person.
Finally. It's been a while.
It has. So for the uninitiated, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do and how you help.
So I'm Marian Page. My background is I spent most of my life, not sadly, at McDonald's. So I was a senior manager at McDonald's for nearly 27 years. And what I do now is help small businesses to build the sticky systems that are going to give them consistency and allow them to scale. So I work with scale-up business owners, really. Yeah.
And how important is this for businesses to understand? Because I think this is something we've been discussing, me and my business partner, for a long time. It's all about systems. It's systems. You can't scale without a system.
Yeah.
Like, to what extent is that statement even true?
It's everything to me. Seriously, especially with my background at McDonald's. The thing is that at McDonald's, nobody ever talks about systems and processes. It's just the way things get done.
Right.
So there is the McDonald's way to do everything. There's the McDonald's way to cook French fries. Nobody comes in and goes, my granny cooks a mean French fry. Let me show you how. Let me show you how. So, no, you learn the McDonald's way and everybody follows it. And what a lot of business owners get stuck with is the language of systems. You know, the word process honestly shrinks a little bit of my soul. It's a horrible, boring.
It does make my backside twitch a little bit, actually, to be honest.
I used to say that, I help KPI. I help businesses with process. You see the shutters come down. Honestly, you may as well have said you sold insurance. Horrible. And it's the language gets in the way. ISO 9001, Lean Six Sigma. When really what businesses need to do is develop their way of doing things.
Yeah.
This is our way. This is the growth guys' way of doing A, B, and C. And everybody that comes in learns our way of doing things. And the key to it is bringing the team into developing what our way looks like. I talk about thinking of a system as something that is just simple, logical, and repeatable. And if everybody can just flick the switch from, oh my God, I've got to systemize my business, to, no, let's work together to develop our way of doing things, make it simple, logical, repeatable, and then make it the way that everything gets done.
Yeah.
Then life just becomes easier.
Well, I'm thinking immediately, actually, around like conversations that we've had in our business, like for so long. It's just like, what do we want to do? Do we want to just teach everybody the what we do every single time?
Yeah.
No, we don't have time for that. We can't do that. We need an SOP. We need a standard way of doing things, something that is, as you say, repeatable and is our way. Yeah. Like the equivalent of the McDonald's way.
Yes, exactly. And if we ditch the language of systems, even SOP, I just talk about having a how-to guide. Because that's what an SOP is. Just let's have how-to guides. Better still, let's have how-to videos.
Yes, I was just thinking that in my head. I was literally just thinking, like, can I not just create a series of YouTube videos and just put it in a private playlist?
Yes.
Send it ahead of time.
Yes.
Look, if you haven't watched them, you're not getting inducted. Like that's what's happening.
But it's then about, I talk about these sticky systems, and for me, the sticky systems are your hiring system, bringing in the people who are the right fit for your business and not settling for anybody else. Because hiring is a pain. People bring in individuals who they know within a short space of time are not right, but they hang on to them because hiring's a pain. They don't want to invest in it. They don't want to invest the time.
God, this is hurting me. Sorry. This is like therapy. Sorry. Yeah.
So hiring the right people and not settling for anybody. And most businesses, I asked this question, if you could rehire all of your team tomorrow, who would make the cut? There is almost always at least one person that has never been right, will never be right. But, well, it's just John. It's John. God, it's...
That's sick. This is it.
So your hiring system is your first sticky system. Your second one is training.
Yeah.
And making sure that everybody gets trained in our way of doing things. There are no corners cut. It's just, this is the way we do this. So if you come from another marketing agency, you may have an amazing CV of what you did for this other marketing agency, but you get inducted into our way of doing things.
So that's an interesting point, though, because I feel like with a lot of people, especially if they've become, I guess, institutionalized in where they are working currently, and then they want to go somewhere new, there's a massive period of unlearning that they have to go through. Like,
definitely.
How do you manage that? Because, like, you know, as much as giving them a new sticky system to deal with, but there's a mindset shift that they need to go through, and a cultural shift, and even like a physical shift that they need to embody. Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, actually, you mentioned the word culture. This is about building a culture of our way. And if it's not just you, you know, if you involve your team in developing our way, and then it's not just you who is trying to instill our way, then the whole team go, oh, that's not the way we do things. This is our way of doing it. And it is an investment of time. That this is where I think most people fall off the wagon. They're like, they've got all the right ideas of, you know, we see what McDonald's was like. We want that level of consistency. You know, we want, you know, the symbol of operational excellence, the Big Mac. We want that. But then it comes to investing the time and therefore the money in hiring right, in training, in giving feedback. Because the third sticky system's your feedback system. A lot of people only get feedback when they've done something wrong. They don't get that day-to-day, that was brilliant, I love the way you spoke to that customer. They don't get that. No. And they definitely don't get the quarterly sit-down, time in the sun with their manager or the business owner, whoever would give them formal feedback. That's
definitely something we've been guilty of actually in the past, and we know that now. Like, you know, because the business moves so quickly as a startup or a small business, and you think, we'll just put that back, that quarterly, but you just don't realize how important that is actually for that person.
Interesting though, as a really small business, as a startup, it's when everybody's in it together, everybody's developing our way together. It doesn't become so vital until you've got that sixth person and the seventh person and the eighth person. That's when it starts to become a bit chaotic, because
when you get into dangerous territory there, aren't you?
Really dangerous. And then, you know, scaling from there. Growth is possible with the right personalities. Scale, you need to have our way that's baked in, that is part of the culture. The culture of this is so important. I mean, at McDonald's, somebody would come in with their way of doing things, usually at a senior level, and the culture would just spew them out because they hadn't had their time at the coalface. They didn't understand what the business was all about. They didn't know why there was this incredible loyalty towards the business. You know, you don't think McDonald's and loyalty, but you know, the average restaurant manager is around, you know, 15, 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, I remember speaking to someone recently called Diane Thomas, and she's from Liverpool, and she worked at McDonald's for a while, and she has nothing but amazing things to say about it. And she was even talking about, like, if we move this just a little bit closer to this, then that's one less step we have to take, which is 3 more cars through the drive-through. And I'm like, literally that level of detail, that's mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, the founder is like one of my favorite films.
I don't know if you've seen the founder, that tennis court scene.
Yes,
I mean, ballet, they literally, obviously they don't do it on a tennis court now. They've got a restaurant somewhere out in America, but everything gets tried out. Everything that all of these innovations. 'Cause the other brilliant system that McDonald's, I try to instill this in my clients, is their planning system.
Right.
There's a reason why they are still relevant and why they are still up with the game, if not ahead of it in many ways. It's because they have a planning system where they've got the big vision, they've got, you know, but they look 3 years ahead and they go, where do we want our people to be in 3 years? Where do we want our product to be in 3 years? Where do we want our place to be in 3 years? The restaurant, what do we want that environment to look like? What do we want our promotion to look like in 3 years? Okay, if we want it to look like that in 3 years, each of these areas, what does that mean for the next 12 months? What does that mean for the next 30 days?
Yeah.
And they build it up from restaurant managers are involved in this all the way up to the most senior people. Everything is based on this 3-1-90 planning system.
3-1-90,
and it's like they are meerkats. They're constantly looking ahead. They're constantly looking for trouble, constantly looking for opportunity.
The good thing is, though, is that because of the size of McDonald's, like just they're a behemoth, aren't they? Like in the world, like they're just huge.
Yeah.
They can do that because they naturally, as like a leader in the fast food industry and the real estate industry, actually, but they can set those trends. They can set those trends so that they can literally look above the parapet and go, what do we want to do?
Yeah.
Not what do we have to do to keep up?
Yeah.
It's like, what do we want to do and what trend are we going to set next?
Yeah.
What's the next line of burgers? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they can do that. And I think that's really interesting.
Well, it is. But if you think that huge behemoth that you talked about started out as a business that was almost certainly smaller than yours now.
Yeah. I mean, just two brothers.
It almost certainly, and it just grew because they had that level of consistency. They hired well. They fired fast.
Yeah.
But they were always looking. I mean, Ray Kroc was always looking. What's next? What's next? What's next? And he wasn't a very nice man, mind.
Well, I've heard people call him Ray Kroc. Yeah,
we used to have a poster up on the wall in head office that said, quote from him: "If my competitor was drowning, I would stick a hose down."
I remember that in the film. I remember that.
Like, oh my God! And it was up on the wall. I mean, talk about culture. But anyway, yes.
But
we moved on from that.
Yeah, I mean that's what made him so successful.
He was
cutthroat nature.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So businesses need a sticky system for scale. They need that culture, and they need their own how to.
Yeah.
And it's their way, and
Yeah, well, it's instead of it's my way as the business owner. When it becomes our way. That's when That's when you get the buy-in. That's really when you get the buy-in. It's a huge mindset shift, though, to go from systemizing my business to let's develop our way of doing things. And it's an investment of time and money, but it's, oh my God, the payoff is huge. The payoff is scale at whatever length you want to go to.
Not to put you on the spot, but with your clients, what's like one of the biggest success stories you've seen in terms of the system? Maybe someone who's like maybe a little bit like sort of pushing back, like that we don't really think that that's our way, but then you've kind of got them across the parapet, or whatever, and then they've been wildly successful because of it. Do you have an example like that?
Well, there's an electrical company that I'm still working with up in Yorkshire, and I mean the guy started out as an electrician on the tools out there, and by the time I came in, he'd already built it to 10 engineers, but he had this completely chaotic office support team, completely chaotic. There was money just going left, right and centre. And we worked with him, one, on clearing out all the people that were not right, did not share his values, bringing in a team that did. And it was painful. I mean, it was a real investment of time and money. But he built that team. He developed our way of doing things with them. They put it into an app called Trainual. That's one of the one of those tools that you can use, which is amazing. And he started building up a franchising business, which is still growing now, because that was his big vision, was to build this team, get a load of engineers out working in Yorkshire, and then from there expand to franchising. And because he had developed this our way, because he was so hot on his values, he built a culture where people were coming to him wanting to be a franchisee.
Wow.
And so it's still an ongoing, but it's just one of those things. He fully bought into this idea of our way, and it really worked. And
amazing.
Yeah, it is brilliant. I loved it.
Love that. Marianne, where can people find you if they want to get in touch, digest some content?
Digest some content. Definitely go to YouTube.
Yeah.
I love doing my YouTube videos, so there's quite a lot on there. LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn, and my website is marianpage.com, so that's pretty easy.
Yeah, I like that. Getting your own name as a domain is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Hard to do nowadays.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Even for Paul Fernandez, like my name, like it's so hard. There's like Mexican footballers with like their own website. Anyway.
Well, Miss Sri Lanka is my competitions.
Miss Sri Lanka.
Miss Sri Lanka.
I mean,
Google Marianne Page, and she always comes up before me. It really annoys me.
I'd be lying if I said I'm not going to Google that now. This was amazing. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh no, my absolute pleasure. I've loved it.
Enjoy the rest of the festival. I know I will, and hopefully the sun stays out for a bit.
The sun has just come out as we speak. There it is. Amazing.
Well, take care and thank you.
No, loved it. Thanks so much, Paul.
Cheers.
Bye.